It's the most high-risk, high-reward weapon in the whole of Counter-Strike. It has the highest skill cap and the widest margin for both success and failure. It's gone from accessible and overpowered to useless and underutilized. And in that time, it's inspired both adoration and anger. This is the story of the one weapon in CSGO that not everyone should wield. The weapon that can make or break any round. The story of the Deagle. You can buy it. Just know you better hit your shots.
But it's not happening. It's big Desert Eagles there. Oh my god!
What is that from Colin? It's also flashed off Deagle. Limited vision, limited weapons. Doesn't even matter to Prey! Oh, the fourth as well! How sick is this round for him? And he's looking for the ace. The first ace!
But Flamey is his kryptonite again.
Oh! Now he takes three! And just do that!
Very, very quickly by Titan.
Oh my god! Nico gets 3! Deagle is on fire and Shox is going to walk into it as well. Nico is on fire.
The Deagle isn't just a chrome hand cannon synonymous with ballsy plays. It's a staple of both the culture and the competitive infrastructure of Counter-Strike. But to understand how it got there, we need to kick things back a bit. You know the IMI Desert Eagle is an all-or-nothing game changer, a wager that only makes sense if you've got great aim, limited funds, and a shitload of confidence. But it wasn't always like that. Back in the day when 1.6 and Source were king, the so-called Deagle wasn't what you'd call good, it was what you'd call God tier. Prior to Global Offensive, the Desert Eagle held the distinction of being the only sidearm in the game that could one-shot headshot through armor. That meant that with the right hand guiding it, this sluggish but stately side piece was pretty much a pocket op.
For some reason, the 1.6 Deagle, getting a headshot with that against an opponent with armor without it just felt insanely satisfying. But I would say that it at least feels to me in memory that the 1.6 Deagle felt as methodical as the current Deagle in CSGO.
And for the Legends of 1.6, Neo, Forest, Get Right, it was a staple of their game. Now, a core part of Counter-Strike is the eco round, one where you spend as little as possible to guarantee rifles and a full buy in the next one. And at some point, players realized the Deagle was the ultimate eco buy.
But the gun rounds, which were extremely important, like obviously way more important in 1.6, it was night and day. Like you either had a gun round or you didn't, basically. And so there wasn't really an option to have an SMG buy, or there's no Tech 9s or CZs or anything like that we have these days. So the Deagle was really the only like solid kind of playmaking answer when you didn't have a gun round in 1.6.
Good start, simple. Gonna win with the Deagle. Deagle is still a pretty good pistol in this. Like, don't underestimate it. I say pretty good. It's very good.
No matter how bleak things looked, if you had a Deagle, you had a chance.
And well, Sonic, he kind of walks in and out. Oh, single double shot from Amy. Stunning from him. Yet again. Oh, that's amazing. Truly, truly amazing. Amy, stand up and take a bow, sir.
If you could just hit your shots, no round was unwinnable.
As he gets around Exist, gets himself one frag onto Wave. Good work from Trace and Burt. Back off there, but Khan comes around. It's now 3-on-2. Minute up on top of the tower. will probably have a big role to play.
Ooh, Sonic missed large shot there.
Oh, and there is Exist. Oh, his team kills can't, but he's taken down Minute as well. He's on 1 HP. An Arcadian.
Insane.
Arcadian. Here is Exist. 1 HP. Where's the shot off? Arcadian is so low as well. And Exist is going to take it. Absolutely brilliant round. Can you believe that he pulled that one off?
And if you thought the Deagle was broken in 1.6, you should have seen it in Source.
The Source Deagle was just ridiculously good. It wouldn't work in today's world, I think, because I think that it would be too strong, far too strong, because it was the hitboxes for the head that was like were bigger, and the gun was a bit more forgiving in general and more consistent at getting those headshots long range and so on. So the Source Deagle was just ridiculous.
But in addition to being a tad overpowered, the 1.6 and Source Deagles weren't particularly faithful to the real Steel original, a cumbersome gun that is difficult to wield.
The game graciously overlooks the weapon's impracticality for combat use, with the weapon eventually becoming a fast favourite for use in tandem with a primary weapon.
That proved especially true in the early days of Global Offensive, when Valve implemented the game's most broken Deagle to date. That said, CSGO was still a very new game, and Valve was constantly making changes in an effort to reinvent and modernize their fabled franchise. They wanted to imbue this game with the classic risk and reward of CS, but with a little more realism. The problem is that the developers just couldn't find the sweet spot. Things came to a head in January of 2013 when the devs implemented a buff that basically turned the Deagle into the precursor to the R8.
One bullet to someone with armor at even a reasonable range does 80 plus damage, which is extremely overpowered, especially for a pistol. At nearly any range with bullets directed anywhere on the body, 2 shots will get the frag every time. The overall reaction to this update by the community, this overall sense of overpowered features, is felt so strongly that European players commonly agree not to use the pistol in scrims because it's just that unfair.
So, in an effort to put the weapon in check once and for all, Valve implemented crucial changes to Counter-Strike's signature sidearm.
The accuracy of the Deagle is really inaccurate when you spam it. Your bullets would just go way off target. In order to be accurate, you have to let it rest for 1 or 2 seconds before firing again. This way you alleviate the kick and will be bang on with your shots.
Unfortunately, they didn't just nerf the weapon, they killed it.
So after looking at all the stats, the big question is the Deagle still a viable buy? I'd argue that it's not anymore. It does a little bit more damage than its original state, but the major recoil and low ammo count makes it less desirable.
The community was incensed. They felt they'd been robbed of something irreplaceable. In addition to being flashy and fun to use, the Desert Eagle was a comeback mechanic like no other, crucial to the chemistry of Counter-Strike. Sure, the gun was historically a little overtuned, but it didn't matter. The Deagle was, undeniably, one of the most iconic and integral weapons in CS. But eventually, competitors were forced to move on. As for the up-and-comers who had just started to cut their teeth and go, well, it felt as if they would have to make a name for themselves without the Deagle.
Хорошо, если будет форс-раунд, возьмешь ЦЗшку или Deagle?
Безоговорочно ЦЗ.
ЦЗ почему?
Я не умею Deagle стрелять вообще.
See, in addition to nerfing the Deagle, Valve buffed a slew of other sidearms, paving the way for an era in which practical pistols, the P250, CZ, Tech 9, and 5.7, ruled supreme.
That thing is so ridiculous, man. You don't even have to let go.
Global Offensive marked the first time that other secondaries could one-shot headshot through armor, and it took Valve way longer than it should have to balance that out. Pistols were so stupid that, if used correctly, they could sometimes eclipse rifles.
Well,
If ever there was something to make Fnatic move fast, I think it's probably Tech 9s. They seem to work even better when you're running. They have the flashbangs, they're going up short. It's an actual Tech 9 train. Almost the most vile thing I can imagine. Alu up in the A-bomb site might get overwhelmed here. Olofmeister picks up the first kill, a second kill. Flusher comes in, Alu's down, it's Forest and Exist left, and this is working beautifully for Fnatic. It's Exist to take down Crims. They're trying to fight their way back, and Forest is out in the open, being flanked in the smoke. 7 bullets, he goes down. Pronax, it's in-game leader versus in-game leader at the end.
For roughly 2 years, the Deagle sat in the doldrums, eclipsed and unused. Valve had implemented some sleeper buffs, but it wasn't until about midway through 2015 that the community began to take notice.
Hey, this is Vu, and today I'm going to be trying to convince you that the Deagle is an awesome gun and more than worth a buy in certain scenarios. Not only that, but I think if used correctly in those scenarios, it can be better than both the 5.7 and the Tech 9. And not only that, but the Deagle is a round-changing gun, whereas the 5.7 and Tech 9 will get you more consistent kills a lot of the time. However, you will get kills that don't necessarily mean that you're going to win the round. However, if, again, used correctly, the Deagle will get you those kills where you immediately get that kill, grab a gun, and win the round based on that.
And with other pistols getting nerfed, it felt as if competitors were returning to the Deagle with a newfound sense of reverence and respect.
It just, I think there's a visceral side that they just really nailed. And all of that it's all the senses coming together. That's the nice thing about it, right? You feel something physical almost when you shoot with it. And that's really hard to get across in a video game, obviously, where you're not getting any tactile feedback. What you're getting is visual and audio, except the devs have done the visual and the audio so well that you almost feel like you're getting the physical side of it too.
To catch somebody peek on Envy's side, and well, that's what happens when you go around the corner. Happy with one dig. Oh, and another one! Oh, and a third! Happy! He could get another one here too, Dimitri is like sweating bullets! Happy's gonna get the quad kill in the ace! What is this?
But compared to its glory days in 1.6, this was a new gun. One that the old guard wasn't especially accustomed to. It was slower, less spammable, and required succinct movement to be effective. The old Deagles rewarded patience and precision. This version necessitated them.
I'm gonna level with you. It's a high-skilled weapon. You can try to spray and pray, but the Lord won't answer your prayers with this bad boy.
Needless to say, this new iteration of the weapon wasn't for everybody. It used to be that the Deagle was something that everybody bought, but now it was for elite aimers only. If you bought one of these bad boys and didn't hit that one perfect shot, there were consequences.
He's right up on this B bomb site, but he's not spotted out anybody. And here's the first one, but he's missing it. Mihu, no! Calix actually swipes it back, and that is that.
And who better to meet the challenge than the very up-and-comers who'd seemed fated never to wield it.
Mouse's buy is going to be torn away from them very, very quickly by Titan.
Oh my god, Nico gets 3, 4! Oh my lungs, I don't believe it!
Shox then has just to find one more. The molly isn't going to touch him. And what on earth has just happened? As Deagle is on fire, and Shox is going to walk into it as well. Nico is on fire. 5, he recovers the AK as well.
And so, the first real generation of Deaglers was born. Newcomers who'd earn their chops and go, and pretty much only ever knew the gun as this high-risk, high-reward miracle worker, who'd seen the hole in the meta and realized that, with the help of some truly inhuman aim, they could fill it.
In the pistol as well, we expected to see that AKs in the third, but it's not happening. It's Speed Desert Eagles there. Oh my god!
What is that from Cole? Through the smoke fights too!
Naturally, as with the M4 AK and iconic AWP, there were those whose skill with the Deagle really began to stand out. And one player in particular cemented himself as arguably the Deagle's truest disciple.
The best Deagle player in the world, I would probably have to name Nico. Just because of his highlight clips, he's just one of the best, if not the best, yeah.
Not a question, it has to be Nico, just because he has so many clips with it, and he's really consistent with the Deagle, and he can almost just win the round by himself with the Deagle.
Well, they know where Nico is. He's got the Desert Eagle in hand. There's a smoke now keeping him out of the sight, though. Can they pull this one off? There's a kick with Bunch, and Nico comes up huge. Double there with the Deagle, and Cadian on his feet for that one.
More than any of the weapons worshippers, Nico became a testament to not only how absurdly powerful the Deagle's skill ceiling had become, but how round-defining it could be in the right hands.
3 more CTs left, then listen, Nico. Key men here because they've got big armor, and Nico's putting in more damage. Well, what is that? No! 4 kills! That is, you can't do this! There's only one more person to find, down to the 1 versus 1. Is he really gonna ace? Nico, there is a reason he's called the best player in the world, and I think we're witnessing it.
There were others, of course. Simple, Coldzera, Twists, Lekro, specialists who habitually pulled off disgusting, unthinkable shit.
Back in, but they're taking damage all the way in. Edward now down to 23 HP, but Simple catching Taco there. He's out in the open, and another peek from Simple too. The Deagle shot takes down Coldzera, and another one from Simple. Up to 3 now for him. Colin trying to jump out, but there's nothing being seen at all. Now being full control of this one, and it's looking at this point like it'll be a 9th round. They're trying to push for it. Another one from Deagle.
From there on out, alongside rifling and opping, deagling took on an almost positional significance. One of those things you just had to learn if you hoped to be a high-level player. If you wanted to be a superstar, well, that would require mastering it.
I don't know if they're still doing it, but back in the day, back at the beginning, what you would do is to work on your aim was just headshot-only servers with Deagle. And that's all you did for hours. Just sit there and headshot people with the Deagle. And that was seen as, and I mean, you do that for a little bit, and then you get into a server where you can spray with an AK, you're gonna, I mean, your skill goes through the roof. You really do start hitting harder. You hit different.
Needless to say, the gun hadn't just returned to competitive play. It was a core part of the very culture of Counter-Strike. Seen as pretty much the highest skill cap weapon in CSGO, you couldn't overstate the electricity surrounding the one and only One Deag.
The One Deag is one of those things you bind on Eco where you're trying to decide, should I full save? Or, you know what, fuck it, Armored Deagle, let's go baby.
To this day, there's nothing like watching a prodigy take on the responsibility of this unwieldy and expensive weapon. Nothing like when they dish out not only one beatdown, but against every odd, another one.
Deu pezinho bom pra ele então. Já vai, Boltz! Tô falando, hein? Quer outra? Quer outra? Quer outra, Boltz? Eu vou dar outra.
I would say so. I think it's kind of like humiliating when you get one tapped by Dig when you have an AWP or AKs. So I think most of the Brazilians, they like to get the feeling when you just want to tap someone's head and they're just feeling like I ain't that bad. And I think that's the reason people love the Dig.
Que outra. Que outra. Que outra.
Because at the end of the day, that's what the Deagle is. A gamble, a gambit, a hand cannon that deals in hollow-pointed Hail Marys. And that's exactly what makes it so beautiful.
RPK hopes to bring it back, but he's just hiding in the back of this bomb site, dodging the grenades as ZywOo continues to walk closer and closer. But Flamey is his kryptonite again. Oh! RPK takes 3! And just do that! Are you kidding me?
When all is said and done, the Deagle isn't just a handgun, it's Counter-Strike hype incarnate.
Colin tried to reset with the scout. Nice angle from Cold. I didn't even think that was possible. I didn't think you'd be able to see through. Because it looked like Snacks was ready for him to walk in. What the hell was that from Cold? Gets both. The low HP cost them, and SK, as we had on Cobblestone, will win the second round.
The Deagle is, somehow, both the best and the worst value proposition in CSGO. The only blaster where a single millimeter can spell the difference between a colossal waste of cash and the kinds of clips that make the game so exciting to begin with.
The Deagle in Go actually is an amazing weapon just because of how special it is, even for the professionals, to be able to make plays with it, because it does require an incredibly huge amount of skill and anticipation, game sense. Like, you cannot afford to really miss a shot at that level, so you have to be perfect. And it's a weapon that rewards you if you can find a way to be perfect.
Smoke down towards Xbox makes it a bit more problematic for Nexus. So there's the flashbang. He needs at least 2 kills to have a chance in the round. There's the first, not bad at all. There's the second, it's working out. Let's go, Nexus!
It isn't clear what the future holds for this fabled firearm. Whether, after 2 decades, this is the Deagle's final form, or Valve are intent on experimenting with it even more. But whatever else can be said about the Desert Eagle, one thing is for certain. Counter-Strike would be a lot less interesting without it. Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit up our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages.